Alright, more team VOD reviews. Or player of team VOD reviews. So, hero pools, increasingly not a fan. Because I saw the beginning of this, I didn't watch the whole thing. This positioning is pretty weird for Narissa. Like, this is where I would say this is bad for Orisa because Reinhardt would push you and punch your shit in. But there's no Reinhardt. So fuck it, right? Like this position goes unpunished. Because I mean it doesn't really utilize Orisa very well. Because she wants to play at range. She doesn't want to get pushed. But without Reinhardt, who can really push her? And the enemy's gonna run dive. So you're basically running a brawl but with an Orisa. And let's go back a little bit to see the comp again. So, okay, we're going to get a Doomfist, and we're going to go Soldier, I think. So we're basically kind of running a little bit, like, the DPS could be a little better, like a McCree would be good, a Mei. Because you're kind of running like the Soldier kind of wants to poke. He wants to play on the point, the Soldier, but that's not going to work with holding up here. So that's like a little off. And Doomfist, though, Doomfist actually this is pretty good for Doomfist. There's so many walls to punch people in. There is still like enough places you could theoretically jump down on from high grounds and stuff. This is great for Doomfist. The Soldier's just a little off, even though I think Soldier actually is really good right now. McCree would be better, or a Mei. Or, well, it's again a Reaper. We can't play the Reaper. We are limited in supports, we're limited in healing. But this is a good duo, especially against dive. So, comp wise, we're pretty okay. Fuck it, we might as well hold up here, because nothing matters anymore. This It's more nice thinking your Orisa was doing alright too.
2 DPS is fine. I mean, there's a lot of DPS to play with, so.
Yeah, people just cry because they don't want to play. They can't play the Hanzo, they can't play the Widow.
Oh yeah. So one of the first things I noticed is that you are, as we talked about before, of bodying for Orisa a lot more, or just the main tank in general, getting in, taking the damage. Two things to note about that. One, because we are talking about an Orisa, if you're in front of her, she can't see. Doesn't really matter for Reinhardt because there's nothing for you, just swings wildly anyway. Doesn't matter. With an Orisa, she can't really see what she's shooting at or like trying to halt. That doesn't mean don't do it for an Orisa, but just keep that in mind. You're kind of limiting her field a bit, but what the real advantages of why you'd still want to do it for Orisa is that she don't have to fortify them. Like theoretically, you are absorbing enough damage to prevent her from having to fortify, and that is extremely important. Because as long as she has fortify, she is basically unkillable. And if you can, soak up that damage to prevent her from having to need it, it's gonna be it's gonna be some good shit. Basically, how you're playing this is like pretty good. Like, you're taking enough damage. You're not, with the limited healing, it could get a little dicey, but everything's going fine.
Oh, thank you, save my life. Thank you.
You did like push the widow, and it kind of was a little scuffed, but I'm assuming you just sort of missed because yeah, you want to go like straight at her, get aggressive, go in. I don't know what that is. I don't know why you like boost straight down. You kind of did that a little bit before too. Are you like trying to just like hit the Winston next to you? Like theoretically, because he just like dove in and you tried to hit him. Because here's the thing. Like, actually, do you get tab to show the enemy comp? I don't think you do. Honestly, you should be hitting like tab around here, right? Because like just to make sure I didn't like be a dope and just completely miss it and you hit it. I don't think you did. I always recommend between like every team fight, because what alts do you have? I mean, probably none, right? Like, safe to say,
Save
probably
my life,
none.
save my life. Oh, you.
But
Oh, big, save my life. Thank you.
just because it's first fight, like you're only at 60, but you might have Ant Matrix or something. That's good to know. Um, but the real thing is to figure out like what you should now do. Like first fight, you don't know, it's Wild West. Who knows what they're throwing at you? At this point, though, you can now figure exactly what they have. And it's like, well, what do they have? Well, they have a Widow. I think they have a Genji. Winston, I think it was Zarya? And I'm not sure what the supports are. Is it Baptiste and Lucio? I don't know what the other support is. Oh, it's Mercy. There it is. So, like, what is your job here? You can start figuring that out. Like, who do you dive? Who are you concerned about? And one of the big things is obviously you don't want to get too much in the face of Zarya because she goes right through your defense matrix. You don't want to feed Zarya too much. You don't want her to get her energy up, and that's probably your biggest potential of getting demeched at all is going to be Zarya just beaming into you and not being able to stop it. So that's becomes your primary concern. And two, like, who can you kill? Who can you dive? Like, who do you counter? Well, obviously there's the Widowmaker, but what can Widowmaker do to you when you're in this choke? Like, nothing. Her sightlines are so limited, and you have a shield, and everyone's playing behind the shield, basically. Like, Widow can't do much. So, who gives a shit about Widow? Right? Assuming they still have it, which I'm not entirely sure. They might have switched off immediately. And the thing I'm getting at is that D.Va's really good against Winston. D.Va shreds Winston. And so when you did that weird, like, I'm going to go straight down and maybe boop, I still don't know why you did that. Or it was an accident or what. But you don't want to do that because your cannons just shred Winston because you can just point and blank him. His tickle gun does nothing to you because you have armor. Like, just get into his face and just shred him. D.Va's really good against Winston. So that's probably your main focus in many ways, is just to fuck with Winston and make sure he can't do anything. Just body him. Because you're going to win that so hard. And as long as you can kind of, like, your team can maintain the integrity of the choke, Widow gets no value. They're gonna have people trying to go through the window, which is what basically they end up doing. Doomfist is gonna punish anyone who comes through, although he might get too aggressive. And this is the other thing, like, you don't stay out here too long because, again, keep in mind, low heals. Like, no one can really heal you through that. It kind of loses sight of, like, what I'm talking about. Like, you want to be finding Winston and really punishing him because that's the one you can easily punish. Yeah, like right now, you can just be on him. Just be shredding him. Like, micro missiles will shred his armor. Like, you can really mess up a Winston pretty well. So, in that fight, like, you go in maybe expecting a Widow, because, again, did they switch off? I feel like they switched off. To what, I'm not sure. I actually now really want to know if they still have the Widow. Who is their other DPS? We may never know. Still have no idea. Oh, wait, we had tap. Oh, yeah, they have a Mei now. See, they switched off. So, being that far deep, like, the only possible way would be to fuck with Widow, but she's not around. They probably immediately switched off. But, you didn't know that. You didn't tap. Like, I didn't see Mei in that fight. I also didn't see Widow. So, I feel like they switched off. And in that chaos, we didn't even know. So, don't necessarily go in the back line, like, be on the high ground. Stay with the team. Stay with Orisa, because, and this is like D.Va has many jobs. You're like, probably your first job is to defend the main tank. So, if you're not with them, then you're not doing anything on the main tank. Orisa just gets rolled on. So, and yeah, like, Doomfist and Brig and, Baps might have been able to save her, but, like, that's your first duty. So, and then, like, actually counter your counters, which would be, like, you counter Winston pretty well, like, fuck him over. And then peel, but honestly, your team doesn't need peels, because the only one you need to peel against is Genji, and he probably can't even get any anyway. Like, I don't know, somehow he farmed Blade pretty fast, but, like, we actually, like, our support duo was actually really good against Genji. And this bomb, no good. I'm kind of assuming you thought maybe they would live. Like, I'm gonna bomb the blade, right? Bomb the blade, they would live. But the thing is, they're all on a grab, so he just, like, swings twice and he kills everybody. But if we're talking about using bomb to, like, counter a blade, The thing is that Genji, like, bomb takes a while to go off. Genji should probably get 2 to 3 swings in that time, and that's enough to kill people. If you're gonna use bomb to counter any ultimate, it's either gonna be a long ultimate. You're gonna use it like zone them out. Like for instance, let's say they had a soldier ult, you would throw bomb just to get soldier to like fuck off, and so he can't stay in line of sight because there's a bomb in his face, so he has to move away, and then it like zones out his ultimate. Like that would work, but Genji's ult is basically instant. Yours is not, so you're not gonna stop the blade with a bomb. However, that doesn't mean don't use bomb if there's a blade, because theoretically, like with your support line, with a Baptiste, with a Brig, the odds of Blade doing anything is pretty low. You know, throw down an Immortality Field, no one dies because he has to kill that first. That's 2 swings. Brigitte can bash and whip shot, and he gets knocked around, and then like has to run to catch people. Rally can also, if you had it, you know, would be a pretty big mitigator that could add an extra swing. Like it's gonna take a while for him to get value, and the danger is of the blade is that the blade could get no value in terms of killing anyone, but could still cost you the fight because if Genji is bladed and the entire support line is dealing with Genji, and probably some of the DPS, and maybe you, if you're gonna stay in mech, like Orisa's gonna get rolled, right? Like who's gonna heal Orisa if they're dealing with Genji? Like that's their time for the 5 other players on their team to just walk up on you and kill you because your support line's not around to heal and like help the Orisa or whoever your main tank is. So a bomb could be thrown to make sure that your tank line doesn't get pushed, and your team has plenty of time to deal with Genji. And as long as no one dies to Genji, then you've traded. Then basically, bomb has done its job to make sure they couldn't push you in the chaos of the blade. That's where bomb would work really well against a blade. But in this scenario where you're all grabbed, you're just fucking dead because he's just gonna swing twice, get enough value. The bomb won't go off before blade like gets value, and it doesn't like matter.
We get everything.
So like basically the too long didn't listen of that is basically bomb as a counter ult is a zoning ultimate, not a killer. So you're not gonna kill Genji, but you could zone out the enemy team. You're not gonna zone out Genji because he's too fast, but you can zone out the rest of the team. Other characters that like Soldier ult is the best example that comes to mind. You could zone that out theoretically, or maybe a High Noon. You could force him to not High Noon. We could actually throw bombs straight into a McCree High Nooning. What is he going to do? Because the mech will absorb the bullets. This is just kind of a bad time. Again, low healing. This is a bit of a mess. Like I was gonna actually initially I saw this part. Man, that was a really good on that Mercy. Too bad no one else shot her. I think it was just you and Orisa. Yeah, she almost barely made it. Like, yeah, you get in their face a bit. You don't take too much damage. Your Brigitte feeds. Like, I was actually say you feed here too, but honestly, you're going in with the Brig. I mean, I guess you could let her die, but you don't want to go, like, that was a good opportunity. You had to kill the Winston, right? That was Winston there, right? But I mean, she just gets rezzed. But yeah, they all just push you. Zarya moves in, like, you can't get healed because you're in the little room. Brigitte fucked that up. Brigitte should not have gone in there. Honestly, your best bet would have been to let Brigitte die and just try and prevent anyone from pushing Brig. Because Brig can take out the Winston. Again, his tickle gun against armor, not very good. Although they did nerf Brig's self-healing, so she can't quite tank a Winston like she could before. But the fact that you just turned your back on the entire enemy team, they just pushed you hard, is unfortunate. It's Brig should not have gone in there. Yeah, like, I like to see, like, this is like focusing on the Winston is good. honestly. Like, yeah, you also it charged your ult like crazy, and you get the triple, which saves the point. So it's good just for that alone. Probably should have punched the Mercy during that, but I kind of think I can see why you didn't. If you were more worried about getting the full boop to make sure she didn't get the res off. Though arguably if she got the res off, honestly, the Winston would just be feeding. Funnily enough, like because your team is back by now, basically, like you're all on point. I think because the bomb gets everyone. You could have let the res go off and probably been fine. But I wouldn't worry about that. That's 2020 thinking. Prevent the res is still the right call. What did they say? 2020? Yeah, hindsight. Hindsight. That's the reference I'm going with. Fire. They're on fire. Come on, get it together, team. The double sniper pick now is interesting. I mean, they're basically running a dive, at least a half dive. Snipers might have a problem, though. At least Ashe, she could coach gun away if she could stove. I don't know.
He's weak. He's weak.
Such low healing. I mean, in terms of like eating ults, I mean, you did hit tab. Like you did hit tab between the fight. So, part of the hitting the tab is like, okay, who has ultimate? We know Mei does it because she just used it. Grav has used first point. So then, like, the thing you should be thinking about is how high of energy was Zarya during the last fight? And how much was I feeding into her? Because you're D.Va and you're going to feed into her. Like, it's guaranteed. It did seem... She got it pretty fast. I guess I could see how that's pretty unexpected. But keep in mind, you died at the start of last fight when you went to the room of Brig. And most of the damage that killed you probably came from Zarya. Because she beamed right in your back. Because they don't even have a high damage comp. Like, Zarya literally is the most damaging character in their comp. So, actually, there's Baptiste. There is Baptiste 77. But trying to, like, hit tab and try and figure out, like, what am I going to do next fight? So we go back. Like, you're still focusing Winston. It's good. You got to be thinking about whether Zarya has ult. Like, even if you suspect she doesn't, you got to be like, okay, she might have it. Right? We know Mei doesn't. She might have it. And then it's like looking for the tell. So let's go back now and see if we can actually see a tell that Zarya is doing it. So Winston leaps in. I think Zarya is like, it's really hard. You're so far back. But Zarya is personal. Personal. I think she actually did reload. That was really hard to see, though. But I think she actually does do the reload before she does it. It's hard to see it through Orisa. Reload. She thinks she reloaded right there, and that's when she throws the grab right afterward. So, one of the two tells of when Zarya is going to grab is she's going to walk in with personal to try and get as much energy as possible. She's going to reload, and then she's going to grab. Possibly all at the same time. So, it's really hard to tell in the chaos. You are focusing Winston, but that was the tell. She reloaded and then immediately grabbed. So if you're wondering, how could I have known? That's it. Well, I mean, granted, yeah, Zarya's going to reload because sometimes she has to reload, but if you're really paying attention, you could probably tell, like, you could probably just math out in your head that she didn't need to reload there. Because I don't think she probably still had at least half a clip. But she reloaded because she was going to grab. She saw the opportunity and wanted to have a full clip before she did it.
Oh, Mercy's one.
So now, again, like alt cycle. So Mei probably does not have her alt yet, because I don't think she did much in that fight. But that's you're obviously your next eat. Genji should have Blade. So we have a monkey running around. We're going to have Bomb. You got to be looking at Zarya bubbles. Okay, she just used both bubbles. Like, this is a bomb opportunity. Actually have not seen this part, so I don't know if you do it yet. But this is a bomb opportunity, theoretically. And now he bladed. Okay. Oh, well, there's the... This is now an alt fiesta. Where, like, everyone's alting. I would have bombed that earlier. I'm kind of surprised they actually had the blizzard. I'm actually surprised by that. But, I mean, I guess you did get the beat. I actually didn't notice you switched to Lucio. I didn't pay attention to that. I guess that's why you don't bomb. Fair enough, I suppose. Yeah, I guess there's no need to beat, or no need to bomb if you've beated. So, actually, yeah, you probably shouldn't have bombed there. Especially not in that spot. If you're going to bomb, you need to throw it at them. Like, again, once you're close to bomb, start paying attention to Zarya bubbles in this situation. Because, there's technically 4 things that's going to stop your bomb. There's both Zarya bubbles, there's Winston's bubble, and there's Maywall. But Maywall doesn't matter as much if you're throwing it in the air, which you should be. Because it doesn't necessarily... It blocks it more, vertically, not in the air. Or, not, wait, no, it blocks it more horizontally, not vertically. So, if it's high in the air and it's above them, Maywall can't do anything. Anyone, like... Also think about angles. If you had thrown it over yonder, basically right with this doorway... Man, the video quality is not what it could be. But right in this doorway, like, they can't... Anyone who goes in there to hide, and I think some of them did, they're dead, because there's no way for them to actually break line of sight. They can't actually get away from the bomb. That doorway, like, is like that doorway. Yeah, but that hallway is a trap. It's a good bomb place to drop it, relatively, and they just can't. They're dead. So yeah, you definitely should have thrown it towards them, because Zarya was not going to be able to protect anyone. So just in general, keep track of Zarya bubbles. Keep track of as many things that can stop your bomb as possible. Zarya bubbles were the big one. Winston a little bit, but it's mostly just going to save Winston himself, right? Because Winston was already in, and he was alting, so he can't even drop the bubble. Or the dome. Let's just call it the dome, because there's too many things to call bubble. We'll call it the dome. He can't drop his dome because he was alting. I can see why you held it, because of the beat, but then at that point you still used it. So... Actually, yeah, wait a minute. I'm saying you held it, but you didn't. Because let's go through the system events. Like, we almost have it. Again, we should be tracking because we're so close. Honestly, wait a minute. Let's even go back farther. Because this is an alt fiesta, it's, like, moderately important. Like, when was the last time we hit tab? We hit tab here. So, the other thing to consider of, like, okay, who has alt? May have it. Turns out she did. I'm kind of surprised, but she had it. But, like, what are our alts? Okay, we have a useless Hanzo alt that probably won't do anything. We have beat. So that's, like, one thing to consider is, if we have beat, we don't really need to worry about blade. So, and we're almost close to, well, we're getting close to bomb. So we're getting close to our alt. We don't really need to worry about blade because we have beat. There's one Zarya bubble. There's about to be the other. There's the other Zarya bubble. We could literally throw it out right now, and they have no protection. Her bubble will be gone by the time it goes off. Winston's alted. We could just throw it out right now. Like, honestly, this should have been immediate reaction as soon as you got the ult, because it's such a good opportunity. Now, you could argue that their positioning is like there's some cover around here, but keep in mind they are Winston ulting you, so it's like your team is pretty well disrupted, and they are wanting to really push in on this. So much like we've talked about a zoning ult, while Winston's not like a super deadly ult, in fact, he kind of threw it away here. Like, he's playing it really aggressively, but, like, it's probably just because they have so many ults, because they have Genji, they have the Winston, they are going to have Mei. They probably get Mei in the fight, for sure. Like, they were probably like, let's go super aggro and push Q a bunch. So it's an alt Fiesta, but this is like where you zone them out. So you have reasonable chance that they have no defenses and they're gonna have to line of sight it. So depending on like what you can see, I don't feel like rewinding it because I don't want to keep rewinding the scene over and over again. But because they have no defensive abilities, at the very least, it was a good time to throw the bomb because it would completely zone them out at the very least because they have to line of sight it. They can't just bubble and walk through it or anything. This Winston ends up completely feeding because he ain't gonna get support from his team and he's gonna die. Like this is a good because again it's a zoning ult. It completely counters Winston's ult and probably gets kills like right away. And if they do still end up blading or something, then they probably just end up wasting it because again their whole team's zoned out and your team is pretty well equipped and they have the beat, so you can just beat it anyway. So I would have just thrown this out immediately. All the conditions were there to use bomb. That's basically what I'm getting at. It's once again the short version. Using bomb here at this point, like again everyone's pushing Q, so it's chaos. But you have a Bob out, you had beat, and you still have the effects of beat. So, like now what are we zoning out? Like the Genji is actually behind us. Like we've zoned out the Genji again, but Bob basically did that too. Bob's already doing a zone out. No one can go through here because of Bob. Because keep in mind, they don't really have a good shield. They don't have the Orisa. They don't have a Reinhardt. Because you can't have Reinhardt. Because that's where we live in. So Bob is going to be extremely effective. And they can't sleep now, right? That they'd go through. Not, of course, they can't have Ana, so... can't have nice things. So Bob's going to be really effective at zoning them out. So the bomb is just kind of wasted. Didn't even get any kills. If you'd thrown it out sooner, this alt Fiesta probably doesn't happen, or it's even more in your favor. You get to save Bob, probably. I don't know why Dragons are being thrown at this point. Like, this is a win, because Genji's Blade got nothing because you're support lane. So, you know, Dragons was wasted, Bomb was wasted. If you had thrown out sooner, it would have been fine. But at that point, you still had beat on you, like, you needed to bomb them. Bob did the zoning for you. So yeah, now you have no really good alts except Baptiste. Oh, you used Bongo in that too? Why the hell? Bongo should not have been used. Baptiste ult could get value, but it's... we'll see. The Sigma now? This is a loss. I think you needed to play that a little... I mean, it's not really on you, it's the team, but the team needed to play that a little safer. Like, you had no alts except Baptiste, and Baptiste's ult is best used, honestly, just for himself. But to try and, like, when they're pushing in, to be like, boom, Baptiste, and then boom, I'm just going to shoot through it and get a pick immediately. Because I saw, like, an opportunity to start shooting immediately and just do an insane amount of damage. Because putting it where he did that early, they just line of sight it. So, they just line of sight it, and then they push in, and then they use their Baptiste ult when an opportunity where they can just shoot you and just plow right through you. Yeah, and then she grabs, and you're just like, wait, yeah, did she grab? Wait, I guess we could have ate the grab, right? Yeah, okay. So this is another, like, eat the grab scenario. I probably should cover that. Though, honestly, I don't think it mattered too much. Like, yeah, you're all grabbed and you're stuck in this, but the way, like, they just beat it, like, you're probably getting rolled here regardless. That just made it, like, really quick. Maybe you could have got a better, like, a chance to recontest if you all didn't get completely wiped. You know, if you could have staggered a little more, you might get a ball and then contest more of it. I mean, you try to eat it, but this is a matter of, like, it's hard to eat revs. Mei's ult's a lot easier to eat because you get more warning. Grav, you don't get a lot of warning, so it's a lot more prediction. So I think she did reload again. It's a lot faster though. She's doing it, like, I think. Am I crazy? I don't know if she did. I think she just yeeted it out. I think she just saw it and was like, oh. I think she just responded because of the Baptiste ult. So I guess there's no tell, really. You just needed to know ahead of time that she had it. But the only thing you really would have gained is maybe you could have stalled out the point a little bit more. Maybe. Which could have been significant, because obviously if they don't get any time bank, then that would have been significant. But that's still a big if that would have happened. We got our own Genji, but it's probably not going to do anything. Wait, what's our other... what's other DPS? I don't know. Sigma... Okay, there's Sigma Zarya. Orisa is just going for it. This Orisa is Reinhardt.
Genji's actually going.
I'm dead. All my life, I want to do it.
Yeah, like... you know, you're doing a decent job trying to, like, take as much damage as you can without dying. They now have a lot of things that makes that problematic, with the Zarya and the Mei. Damn, that was fast. Holy shit. Holy shit, she got that fast. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna eat that. No way. Like, you try to react to it as quickly as possible, but she got that so fast. Holy.
Oh, Blizzard. They're coming out on Blizzard.
I can't believe how fast she got that for how, like, basically how little healing you have. I mean, I can only assume there was just, I don't know, a lot of right clicks, a lot of AoEing, and then Baptiste got a lot of AoEing. Because damn.
Oh my god, I'm lagging. What the fuck?
Let's see, they got the Mei, they have their own Genji still. Sigma Zarya. Really, this is the problem of Genji. You don't want a Genji. See, I'm not sure what more you could be doing here, other than, yeah, you just switch to Zarya, which I think you're going to want to do. You're probably just thinking, yeah, I'm going to use Bomb. But, and then, yeah, I think you switch to Zarya. But, as D.Va, I think you're doing as much as you can. The issue is that your DPS aren't able to, like, put enough damage into them, probably because of Genji. Hey, you hit it. Well, it's a lot easier. It's so much slower. So she threw it, like, basically right into you. Oh, wow, okay. You just win, though. How do you just win that? Other than you ate the Blizzard, which was huge. Oh, okay, so you bongo. Oh, you bongo. Okay, you bongo, Blade. Alright. Pretty good combo. When you don't have a nano. I guess that went pretty well then. It felt like it was going bad, but you got the ults and you used them really well. And you ate the Blizzard. So now it's like, okay, we have a bomb. How do we use bomb to win this? Because that's like all we have, right? So once again, we look for... Oh, now they have a Winston. That makes it actually easier, because my big worry was going to be like, how do you do a Sigma? But we don't have to worry about that now. Wait, what the hell was the enemy team? I'm sure you threw that expecting the enemy to exist. So where the hell... God, there's so many effects. There's Winston. There's Mercy. I feel like half their team is just... Okay, wait, Mei died. That explains that. Where's the other support? Oh, and their Genji actually did something. Yeah, Mortality Field was probably used, so he was free to blade. And I think you used beat, you used beat to survive the, Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a wasted bomb because it didn't do anything, but okay, here's let's go back. This is probably the last that you played Eva, I'm assuming, because you probably go to Zarya after this fight. Or after the next one you die. Because it's a bit of a cluster. Once again, we could have ate the Grav. Probably should have known she had it, especially since she was charging it so fast before. There's so many, like, things going on. I can't even see her. Honestly, I don't even know why she throws it there. It's honestly kind of strange, because you have the amp. So it's kind of where you want to be. And then, yeah, he blades after you do that. I'm just wondering, does anyone die? I guess that's the big tell. Did anyone on your team die? I don't think they do. I think you all survived this. Yeah, and their mate is. And you beat it. And you don't... Wait. You're basically out of beat, so... I'm gonna say, okay, so this is kind of the issue. One, obviously it's a matter of, like, you basically threw a bomb assuming there was people, but you didn't see people. Because there's no one here. The only one here was Zarya. I think that's Baptiste, probably, all the way in the back. Mercy is somewhere, God only knows. I have no idea where she went. But, yeah, you throw a bomb into basically nothing. So, one is that no one on your team died yet. So that's good. You've survived a lot of things. You had full health. I think that's one of the things I'm gonna, like, focus. At the time you had full health, because you just beated. You have full health. You don't know what you're throwing the bomb into. You're thinking, okay, they threw a lot of stuff at us, but we're all still alive, winnable. But if you don't have, like, a target in mind, don't throw a bomb. Because just of, like, okay, Zarya has to use her bubbles, you know, Winston has to use his Angry Dome, you know, Mortality Field's another thing we have to worry about. There's a lot of things that can negate the bomb. So you need to try and mitigate those as much as possible. But obviously, if we don't have line of sight on the enemy, how do we know what they've used? About the only thing we're pretty sure she has used is the bubbles. But they were, some of them was, I think at least one of those was used fairly early, and she might have it again. So, like, when you're at full health and you're up, and, you know, we don't have a clear target, don't use bomb right away. You know? Because clearly it like, didn't hit anything. So, you probably just could have walked in, because they didn't use blade yet, so it might have been possible to just walk in, get on point, and then at some point during that fight use bomb. Because then at that point they have to touch a point. You know where they're going to be, etc., etc. The unfortunate thing is you're probably going to lose anyway because of the blade, because your supports were just tapped out.
Winnable. Oh, no, it's...
Someone says winnable, it's not winnable. If you were in mech, probably doesn't matter. Like, I would say maybe you could, like, boom them away, but it probably doesn't matter.
Sorry? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. But that, yeah, that is definitely...
Yeah, this is not a fight we should be having, honestly.
Yeah, just wait for the bongo. Bongo blade.
Bongo blade. I mean, is it a good idea to switch to Zarya? God, she has it again? Dear lord. Probably just because the Zarya obviously is just feeding freaking energy like crazy. Like, she's just getting so many grabs. It's honestly disgusting. It's honestly just absolutely disgusting.
Widow. Actually, no, that's bad.
Is there anything you could have done here? Yeah, probably not. You're stuck in a groove. You bubble, you take his energy.
Widow. Actually, no, that's a bad idea.
Right click a lot, Zarya. It's a lot of damage, but it uses a lot of energy. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm pretty sure ultimately you do more damage if you just beam. Like, yeah, you lob right clicks, but... Yeah, you should be beaming more in this situation. Like, the advantage of the right click is that it's an AoE, it hits multiple people, and that's good. But you can only fire 4. Like, I mean, I don't know the numbers. That's the only issue. I don't know the numbers, but I'm quite certain you do more damage beaming on a single target than you do right-clicking on a single target. And you probably do it faster. There's a combo where, yeah, like, if you get someone low, you can right-click punch them for a large amount of burst damage to, like, finish people off, but... Especially, like, taking, like, a bubble, you just want to beam that. Like... You're spending, like, a lot of time just reloading. Unless they're farther away, unless you're, for some reason, uncertain if you can hit them, and the splash will be helpful. Like, you want to beam.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up with it. We have to beat out the field.
Maybe we have a Pharah now? Well, okay. Grav Barrage. Let's do it.
Go for it.
Alright, it's not bad. Alright, we win. Oh yeah, there was also dragons. Grav Dragons works too. Probably should have coordinated which one, so use them both.
This is bad. Monkey turn back, monkey turn.
This is fine. And also, actually, I'm gonna rewind it just a little bit, just to kind of see. Okay, actually, you do it. Yeah, like, the other thing of, like, maximizing your energy is to right-click when you're, like, low. Like, because the right-click is the same if you have 1 bullet or 25, so... You kind of did it right there. That was actually good. So, always ending your clip with a right-click. See, arguably, like, in that situation, it's good to right-click more. Because we're talking about trying to, like, track a Tracer. Good fucking luck with that shit. Like, in that situation where you're just trying to kill Tracer, yeah, you don't really want to beam her. Her hitbox is so small, and she's so fast. Trying to right-click predictions and where she's blinking would be more efficient than trying to beam her down, because she's so small. That makes sense. Right-clicking on her. Which is funny, because now you're beaming him. You're beaming her more. But that might be just sort of... Yeah, you're beaming it. Yeah, like, right-clicking Tracer makes a lot more sense. Because she's so much harder to track because how small she is. Like, try to, like, aim for the ground, boop her around a lot more. Honestly, it'll probably help a lot against her. Because, one, if you're booping her around, that's going to screw up her aim. Because she's also trying to track. Her aim is tracking him as well. So if you're knocking her around with right clicks, her aim's going to be off. And if she's getting launched in the air a little bit, that could easily help with Pharah or Hanzo in terms of hitting her as well. I mean, those aren't super good characters, but like just in general, it'll help your DPS also help shoot her if she's being booped around a lot, because it puts her in more like predictable arcs. Is this an instance of the new? Oh no, it was 120 anyway. Oh no, wait. Okay. Oh, it was, you both got a minute. I was wondering if this was a new time bank thing. It's only got a minute.
Just a small observation. You guys all seem to run away when you're about to die. Don't do that.
You all run away when you're about to die. Don't do that.
Faster.
I mean,
I noticed a lot of people do.
that's just funny.
Everyone just like fucking off.
I feel like you should probably run away if you're dying. Don't stand there and die. That's no good. Okay, the guy isn't going Genji. It's probably a good idea, because you only have 1 minute to get a blade, and that's... it's not a lot of time. It's not a lot of time. Tracer May? I mean, the only advantage, though, is if you're running like a kind of a dive, going all in, because now you got a Winston. So does the Orisa. Like, I like, that's a good question. Like, why not go Diva? Like, why not go back to Diva if you get a Winston and Tracer? Because apparently we're diving in. I mean, yeah, you could bubble a Winston, but... because now you're the main tank. you're just going in. Should not have bubbled a Lucio. For sure. I mean, yeah, he looked like he might have been feeding, but... I mean, you want to bubble the Winston, right? Enable the main tank. Maybe you were just thinking get energy, but... with how aggressive you're being... there was pretty good odds that someone was going to need that bubble more than that Lucio. Apparently, it just didn't happen, though. Wow, okay, that was pretty good. Why didn't we just play this the whole time? Ooh, I think they lock the legs. Okay, they've locked the legs. We're doomed. McCree? Actually, this is a scenario... oh, man, this is where it kind of sucks, because they went double hit scan, and you're not Diva. That could be a little bit of a trouble, because they might just shoot you. You know? Diva's good against double hit scan. Also, Winston might just leap into McCree and feed and die immediately to a flashbang fan. So, this is probably where we get into trouble. I mean, switching to Diva is not necessarily ideal, because obviously you want Graph. I mean, in some ways, what's our ult status here? Our DPS have like no ults. Tracer could get a pulse bomb, but yeah. No support ults. We could get Baptiste though. Baptiste can come online because it's fast. 50, man, that sucks. This is a shit position to be in. Like, you're too far away from Grav, honestly. This would have to be a long fight, and I'm like, the thought that came to mind is play slow and basically push in overtime. You know, touch point at the last possible second to have a chance to build ultimates. Because, I mean, you won the fight, right? If you win the fight, your ults should be higher than the enemy ults. Like, inherently. Like, you killed them, they didn't kill you. There should be almost no way that they have ults before you do, unless your supports had ult, and they just did that much damage because the fight was too long. But your supports are nowhere near it, so there's no way they have ults. And they switched, like, their DPS switched off. They actually, yeah, they had a bunch of switch offs. So, you want to get ults, honestly. Like, that's probably the way you win. The issue is, though, is that playing slow against double hit scan when you don't have that probably means that you get mowed down in a long-range fight. Like, you just don't have the poke. They have the poke. Like, Mei could hit headshots, but she's at a disadvantage in this fight. Tracer doesn't do long range. This is a bad position to be in. Yeah, this is just a bad position. Well, you're gonna go all in from the looks of it, and that's just a straight up fight. And you don't want that. You want to cheat. You want to be in a better position.
Gosh, I got killed.
This will still end up going a little slow anyway. Wait, what? Did they have a soldier the whole time? I thought he switched. Soldier was the first one to get ult. Huh. Oh, that's the rocket change for you. But what did they not have a? Did they have a soldier all the time? Am I crazy?
Oh, you used the.
They have a Genji. Oh, okay. There's a soldier. There's a soldier up top.
Back one, back one. Signal behind.
Okay. Okay. So the soldier didn't switch off, and because of the rocket change, he gets ult first. Damn. That rocket change is broken as food. Like you could fucking amp, but whatever. They just line of sight it. Like they just immediately line of sighted it. Like as crazy as it sounds, you should have went Diva. You would have been better off going Diva. You're just too far away from your ult. I can see why you didn't though. You know, this is still like, this is somewhat of a hindsight 2020, but I think it was kind of predictable though, like going into it. You're going into a fight where technically you should have ult advantage, but you're not close enough to have the ults. It was almost too clean of a fight. So having a 6v6 on their terrain, the issue would be is even if Soldier didn't get his ult, you probably lose people in that fight, and they still win because of respawns. Granted, it's an overtime, so that's negated a little bit, but the odds of winning a fight cleanly on 2 CP without ultimates is unlikely. It's very unlikely. Especially when now that they're like double hit scan and they have pretty good terrain for hit scan, with all that high ground, like around top point. Like, Tracer needed to pop off and just like mow down Soldier or something. Or McCree, which good luck with that, you're Tracer versus McCree. Or I don't know, that fight needed to last longer, but I mean, yeah, Soldier's gonna get ult so much faster now because of that Helix Rocket buff.
That's healed.
I will say, like, the right clicks here are fine. Like, the long range pokey right clicks where you're just, like, skirmishing and just trying to get as much damage as you can, that's fine. Yeah, it's just like in this situation where, yeah, you want to focus more on the left clicks. You seem to be doing it a fair amount now. It might have just been in the beginning where you were just seemed like you were doing it excessively. I mean, what the hell went wrong? Like, I don't know, we're backing up. I don't know... Why do we even have to back up? We're doing our poke thing. Okay, oh, Winston leaps in. And they just push us. I guess because they have a Brig. I guess that was what it comes down to, is Brig just goes in as a main tank. we get Junkrat? Why are we Junkrat? At what point in this entire affair did it seem like Junkrat would be the right call? We should have had the Orisa. If we were going to run a Junkrat, we should have had an Orisa. To be able to stop them. Unfortunate.
So like, the next fight we're just stacking ults.
Yeah, I got beat.
But at least now,
Definitely need beat for next fight.
I mean, we should win though, right? Tire. Or not win, but this should be drawable.
Going fast, it's okay.
Get Tire before they push in. Tire and win. We also have our support ults too. Like, they're going to have ults for sure.
I used my ult. Good.
Yeah, they used May. They should have ults, but Tire should get enough picks and you win.
Got 2?
2. Did you send me a draw?
What's that?
Drawable. I feel like I've been bamboozled. This isn't a loss at all. That's fine. Yeah, it was still a decent value review.
More Ana though. That's
Oh,
one thing.
we rambled a lot. Hopefully it was helpful. I don't quite remember how to summarize this. I mean, the bombs could have been better. Yeah, I don't know if there's a solid like summation of like this is your problem. I don't think it was quite that simple. Because it wasn't anything. I don't think it was anything super major in terms of mistakes or anything. Few. I guess some of the bombs really it was probably the big thing, and I guess eats. But expecting eat grabs constantly is not normal. Especially when we go back to this one where that was a super fast grab. It's probably more like the best advice would to be, I mean, outside of when she was getting them like candy, but hit tab and assess like what you need to be doing in the next fight. Like if they have ults, what you need to eat. Try to look for the tells. Try and predict. Like basically, you want to put yourself in the Zarya's shoes of like, I think this is the one where they amp, right? Like if they throw down an amp and they have Grav, like she's probably gonna throw Grav then. Like you kind of have to ghost yourself out of your own body and kind of see how you're positioned with your team or how your team's positioned, and see like, oh, we're all grouped up and they have Grav. She's probably gonna use it, right? Like, because you play that role, so it's a matter of trying to like put yourself in that position to see that that you're in a Grav opportunity in yourself, and that if you were the Zarya, you would Grav here. Assume that they're as good as you or better, and they're not stupid, and that try and recognize when you're in that opportunity, and thus they will take the opportunity, and then eat it. That's the bigger brain way to do it, rather than like looking for reloads and bubbles and stuff. Because a good Zarya will probably try to avoid being obvious with her grabs. And you want to get to the point where you can eat, grab some good Zaryas, not just bad ones.
Oh, Mercy's one.
Taking the opportunity. Could have to have a little bit more, but like every time you're like, okay, we want to feed off Winston, punish him. Okay, eat the grab, eat the blizzard. Like you had to eat some of the was it 2 blizzards or 1 blizzard? Like that's easy to eat because there's so much lag time. Like your reactions were good because I think every time she threw Grav, you did hit the defense matrix. It just wasn't fast enough because you basically have to know ahead of time to do it. It's so fast that you can't really react. Maze is so much slower because of the animation that you can react to it and eat it if you're still on the ball. So it's a lot more predictive of Zarya. So that's probably the big one. I'm not gonna say the big one because it is difficult. Like you shouldn't expect to eat everything. It's always should probably be considered a bonus, but that's sort of the trade-off of like Zarya versus D.Va is that she's gonna eat. She's gonna feed off of you, and she's gonna get charged, and she's gonna get a lot more grabs than normal because you're playing D.Va. But at the same time, you can completely negate her all by eating it. That's the trade-off. So you want to try and get that in your favor so that it doesn't feel like you're just picking D.Va against his Zarya. You know, that she's just getting free grabs off of you and you're just letting her do it. The other thing is obviously the bombs. There's one really good bomb that more or less not one you like. It basically drew you the game. Like you were gonna lose that point if you hadn't bombed there and gotten the 3K. But like even though that was a good bomb, it was like, what else were you gonna do there? Like you had bomb, you're gonna throw it. Like it you know, like it's not like you you timed it at the right specific moment. It was like, well, if I don't bomb now, I'm dead. Like I have no choice. And it just so happened that they had blew every cooldown and couldn't avoid it. You know, it worked out. It wasn't like a big bright bomb. You want to get to the point where your bombs like win fights before they start. You know, you don't get to the point where where it's basically like you get lucky. You saw the opportunity. You did it as a moment. We already covered when that was like the best time to do it, which was, I don't remember part of the video, but you know, look for the bubbles, look for the timing, look for the angles. Try and figure out, if you throw a bomb here, where is this person going to run to? Where's this person going to run to? And try and position a bomb so that it will kill them anyway, because they can't. If they run that direction, the bomb still gets them because of where you put it. And just kind of like being able to aim them, but figuring out like the best times to zone with it, etc., etc. Because aside from that one really good bomb, the rest of the bombs didn't really get value. So like any one of those could have been an opportunity to win the game. Turn this from a win to a draw, or yeah, from a draw to a win. Other than that, I think a lot of the other like mechanical stuff was pretty decent. Like I mean, I there was parts where I kind of like I immediately said like go for the Winston, but for the most part, for the rest of it, you were going for the Winston. It's just that in those moments of like when things were chaos, like early in that defense, we got a little lost on what we were doing. Probably because we were pretty dominant. But we're like, all of a sudden we're in the back line, and it's like, what are we doing back here? It's like, no, stay on the Winston. So yeah, but I mean, overall, it's pretty decent. It's just getting some little things a little fixed. I'm very tired today. That's why I haven't ended this yet. You know, you ever get to that point where
Widow.
you're just tired?
Actually, you know what?
And you think that there's like a better time to end it, and you're just like, man, I don't know, I got nothing. Anyway, goodbye.